What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Save Point Podcast, episode 28. I am Alex Sway. Will be on his way, or he is on his way, but I wanted to get the show started. We're going to talk about really just what's happened, do some sort of recap stream here. I need a decompressor myself personally from live streaming all these things. I know the Xbox extended one starts in about half an hour, so we'll try to pay attention to that. The first half an hour of that will be our last half an hour. I'm gonna be watching it just in case anything happens, and then we will, I'll probably make a video. Hello, Sway. I started. Oh, your audio's not coming through, or at least it's not coming through to me. While he fixes that, how's everybody doing at home? What a freaking week we have just had. Dragon's Dogma, Pragmata, just in yesterday. The Capcom show is pretty bad, but Dragon's Dogma 2 looks freaking insane. Ubisoft show. I don't agree putting Ubisoft's show ahead of PlayStation's. I saw Sway agreed with that should be the case, so I wanna argue with him in this. Is your audio coming through now?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
So I'm gonna put you on the court immediately. I want you to defend. Why do you think Ubisoft's was better than PlayStation's?
From my personal opinion, the reason why I would say that is because I would classify Ubisoft as their presentation was like pretty much a 2-game presentation, right?
Yeah.
Like there was more to it, but I feel like they really excelled on the 2 games that they.
So are you talking Star Wars and Assassin's Creed?
Correct.
Okay.
I liked what they showed tremendously to the point where, like, Star Wars alone, I look at the PlayStation if you're talking about which show had more titles to show off that you were interested in, I would say PlayStation. But the quality in which those titles were showed off, I just felt like there were more things that I enjoyed more with Ubisoft, as far as like what I liked, I loved. And that's kind of where I'm coming from. Like, PlayStation had more variety, but I believe what Ubisoft had, they had less is more with me.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I mean, Avatar, how I ended the Avatar thing was pretty average. Like, I didn't like a good amount of it, but then I liked a good amount of it. For me, the release date's the biggest good thing, and I will be getting it. So Avatar's kind of there, and then Assassin's Creed. So their Assassin's Creed beats Sony's Assassin's Creed because it was just 10 more minutes of it. And then their Star Wars game, what's tough is, like, PlayStation had Spider-Man, had Alan Wake, had Helldivers, so to me, I'm going to disagree. How I did say, though, I will say Ubisoft deserves some credit for the cringe 10-year ago E3 kind of feel. They did, like, and they're the only ones who do it. WB, Square Enix, all these companies don't do it. Not only, I'll give them legit, praise for being the only one that does a show. And then jokingly and jabbing at them, they keep that, cringe E3 Just Dance presentation, the horrible people coming up and giving their 10-minute speech. The guy who said he's going to keep it short to get to the game, and then he didn't keep it short. Like, that kind of stuff is, like, it's just so bad. But it's almost good because it's so bad. All right, so Sway, we have so many shows we could talk about. Obviously, I know you were very into what you saw on Starfield, so I'll let you have the floor. What do you want to talk about?
Starfield, to give you my background, I was excited for Starfield, but it was a game where it was, and I think we talked about it before, where it was like, I know I'm going to get it. I'll probably get it day one. I don't know if I was going to play it, like, or prioritize it over Mortal Kombat, right?
Right.
It was also a game that I was like going in, like, I'll get the standard, like, I'm excited for it, but I'm not overly excited. I watched that presentation and I was a changed man. I immediately went to see if it, because I had watched everything, and I had skipped to the Starfield presentation because I wanted to do things that I was interested in to make sure that I could talk about it on the show today. So, like, as you can see behind me right now, the Xbox showcase,
oh my God,
is because I was going back and I wanted to see the Xbox showcase, but I only watched the Starfield portion yesterday.
Yeah.
And like, all I'd heard, like, when I was because I was at an anime convention this weekend. So, like, on Sunday I'd actually missed everything live. And I kept hearing about how the Starfield Collector's Edition is sold out, which I expected it to be. It's Bethesda. But after seeing that entire presentation, we've talked about it before. Like Zelda, I didn't think there was anything taking it down. There's so much innovation in this game. There's so many things that I can see other developers looking at and saying, like, we want to take this and put this into our game, along with inspiration that they took from other games that have tried to do things similar.
Yeah.
And just the variety of playing, like the gunplay. I think that this has been the best gunplay I've seen in a Bethesda game
ever.
Like, and then the docking the ships and
the fact that it does Skull and Bones more than Skull and Bones with boarding ships, and you can take their crew, you can take their things, literally put it in yours. You can take people and put it in ships, plural, because you can have, I believe, more than one. Because you can dock ships at different outposts. You can fill the outposts up with people. So, I mean, it's insane.
It's insane. And like, I mean, to go over everything, you probably really like to dissect it. You probably need 3-4 hours. But
I don't think anybody, not that I've seen so far, like I've seen very short opinion videos, like including myself. I did them. But I haven't seen yet. I'm sure somebody will do like a 3, 4, 5 hour video of just breaking down every single detail that we saw. It's nuts. That blew me. It blew me away. I'm still very like caught. Like they're never going to get me again. Okay, like it just works and that kind of stuff. The game needs to come out, obviously, and it will, but it needs to run decently well.
I don't like those chances.
Yeah. I mean because I just think with it may not matter in the giant discourse of the game and people buying it or people playing it on Game Pass, but at least the internet perspective of it, if the game comes out and it's like a buggy disaster, there's just going to be so much on that it's going to overshadow the whole game. But it's also, I would say, I would almost agree with those people because, like, I know every Bethesda game comes out in a broken state and it's like, haha, it's funny, but it's actually not funny, at least to me. Like, I've never like enjoyed it. I hate when these, or a Cyberpunk situation or stuff. I mean, yeah, you watch the videos of the horse in Elder Scrolls flying up into space in the like the first 2 minutes of the game. And yeah, you can laugh at it, but when that's your game, which happened to me, my horse took off. When I went into a river, my game crashed. Over and over. One specific river would crash my game. So when that happens, it's funny to make videos on it, but it's not funny to play it, at least to me.
No.
So, and I think that ruins the game to an extent, at least to start, because then you have to wait for a patch. So that needs to not happen. Like, it cannot happen in Starfield.
I agree. It's never pleasant when you're the one that it's happening to. And I can't stress this enough. Back on, the original PlayStation, the PlayStation 2, there was no patches coming. So we had to figure out our own way. So if there was like something like that happened and your game crashed, or there was a glitch and you had to keep, restarting, you had to literally try to do what you had to do, but go about it a different way or a more elaborate way so it didn't crash the game. Yeah. And it didn't make it any less frustrating. Like, it's one of those things where it's like after you get over the situation, like you get past it, that's when you can laugh. But in the moment, it's genuinely the most frustrating thing ever. And I think that why, because of how long I've dealt with it, and maybe it's like that for other people. They're just like, maybe it is just, just funny at this point, because it's just that it's always been there, but it's more egregious. But when you're trying to enjoy something, you're really gonna get mad. And how hype I am for this game, I cannot tell you how it took me forever to replay Horizon, because it bricked my PlayStation 5 for I want to say like about 4 to 5 minutes. Wouldn't cut on by pressing the power button or nothing. So it's stressful when it's happening to you, for sure. And I can agree with that take. Like, it is. It needs to work. It needs to work out the box.
And there's a lot. I mean, Starfield, I think, does become like a big dog that you almost stop playing anything else for it. But there are so many games after it. September is loaded. October I mean, September and October could be. I think every October normally there's like at least one big game every week. This year is very much the same. Sometimes it's on the same day as another game. Mortal Kombat Lies of P is on the same day. We've talked about the Alan Wake and Spider-Man and Assassin's Creed. I think there's more in October. I mean, it's actually insane. So, all right, you said you were watching stuff to be able to talk. What do you want to talk about besides Starfield? Anything that stood out to you?
Anything that stood out to me, Hellblade.
Hellblade. Now you're speaking my language.
Fable.
Lack of gameplay, but
yes.
it looks so good.
So good. Fable was another one. Really enjoyed. We didn't see much gameplay,
and
but
yet,
I like the presentation.
They say that the whole thing
was no cinema.
Thing was in the in-game cinematics. That was the game, and they are sticking to that. It looked unbelievably good to be that, but they're sticking with that story. So I guess I'll try. I mean, and Playground Games, I think that's the Playground Studios. They're very talented in terms of visuals. So I guess I don't doubt it. I guess that end of the game probably comes out 2-3 years from now.
So. It looked so smooth just when I'm talking. I mean, like I couldn't, like you saying that now, I'm shocked that was gameplay because I was kind of thinking like I thought y'all wasn't going to do like CGI and things like that.
When she was clashing swords with the person, that it didn't. It looked so good. It looked like an in-game cutscene that would then transfer to the game. But I think that was gameplay, which is kind of nuts. That's what I've kind of backed off of that one because I've said, on those kind of games they did lack gameplay. Fables, I think, was just hard to spot what was gameplay. Hellblade, when she's walking is gameplay, but then it's like an in-game cutscene. It's not, what I mean? It's one of those things where the gameplay transitions naturally to a cutscene and then it comes back out. So I guess it was gameplay. They actually, the trailer is called like a gameplay trailer. So, they kind of, I do think they again kind of built it up. I don't think all those games even did have, like thinking about them, did every single one have gameplay in it? Not 100% sure. I think they cut some corners there to just dig at Sony, which is fine. They nailed. I mean, their show was 10 times at least better than PlayStation, so they did do what they needed to do.
And I think that what they did was kind of
this your game right behind that game did not have gameplay. That was a cutscene. So there's one right there.
I think what they also did. This was one thing that, like, I mean, we already knew this, but like, if you're a console warrior, this was a very bad day for you. If you're on the opposing side, because ever since that Phil Spencer interview, Xbox doesn't care about games. Xbox is doomed. Starfield has to carry the load. While I do think that Starfield carried, if Starfield wasn't on this show, I would still be very satisfied with this show. And that speaks a lot to me as far as like what they had to show. And even Starfield, to say if the show was a dud, if Starfield was the one that carried it blew the expectations of what we thought it had to do out the water, to me at least. So I look at this and I go, like, if you're an Xbox fan, like, this is a very, very, very good day for you. And this is really a good day for all of gaming. And this is why I would say being a console warrior gets you nowhere. It is just enjoy everything and be happy for everything. Starfield is coming day one. Another thing, as a collector, seeing, because a lot of companies don't do this that often. Street Fighter didn't do it. Most companies don't do it. They have a collector's edition for PC for a first party game. Now, this is a collector's edition for PC and Xbox, and that was lovely to see that they actually included PC in that. So
you got the collector. So you got the watch. Is that?
Yep.
Oh my god. Now, hopefully, I mean, I don't know how you could possibly mess that one up. No. But remember the Fallout helmet. They definitely messed that one up. So I don't know how you mess a watch up unless the watch is like made of rubber or whatever.
They did a good job with the Pip-Boy.
Didn't they lie about Didn't they lie about the materials of the helmet, and the people got the helmet and it wasn't the right, or there was a garbage bag instead of like I wasn't really a part of it, but I just remember.
Yeah, there was definitely some janky stuff going on with the helmet that was not advertised.
Yeah.
um, but the watch, you did have an app for the Pip-Boy watch that worked alongside with the watch while you were playing the game.
Yeah.
I actually have the Pip-Boy watch in my display case.
Nice.
So with watches, I can trust them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can trust
Yeah.
them with the watch.
Yeah. You should be able to trust watches.
I
Um,
hope it's like more than just like a game interactive. Like if you could like wear it as like an actual smartwatch and download like other apps, that'd be awesome. I'm not expecting it, but
yeah.
that would be awesome.
That was, I mean, we knew the controller was coming and the
Yeah.
headphones, but then, Todd's sitting there with the watch, like, oh my God, nailed it. Just want to quickly again say hi to everybody, joining in. These are always a blast. And we're going to get to the comments as well. City Skylines, that game is very hard to read. I said that on a live stream. I think City Skylines is very hard to read in the moment, right? You can these games, these city sim games, to watch a trailer and try to take in all the mechanics is, I think, too much because there's too much going on. But the
Mm-hmm.
game looked incredible, and Game Pass, and
Yep.
this October. I mean, if you don't have Game Pass, you are like, and I know the idea, Game Pass people don't buy games versus, I actually do think Game Pass stops people largely from buying games. I kind of agree with that. But at the same time, like, look, we're all struggling. The economy, the inflation just rose 4%. My phone tells me it's bad. So, like, legitimately, put politics aside, to not have Game Pass, you're spending hundreds of dollars you don't need to, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
why would I ever buy? And maybe that comes off the wrong way, but like, why would I buy Texas Chainsaw for $40 when it's on Game
Yep.
Pass? Like, why would
Mm-hmm.
you ever do that? Now you have to buy
You
the
wouldn't.
console or you have to buy the PC. But like, once you do all those things, why would you ever buy the game? And that's probably bad for the industry in general because that's very much subscription service, which I'm not a fan of. But I got to worry about my
The
finances.
deal, the deal is
Yeah,
too good to pass up. And I mean, like, even for those who wonder that, I would say that I'm a perfect example of that. I like to own my games so that way they can never be taken from me.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I try to get physical so that way, like, say if my account ever gets hacked, I have it and I might have to start over on that stuff. I might even have to buy the DLC if I bought it separately, but I would still have the game itself. But for all the games that say like I want to play, but like maybe it's not financially responsible for me to do, Game
yeah,
Pass is 100% a possibility for me to just be able to play a lot of things and try a lot of things out. Even if I'm not sure about a game and I want to try it out before I purchase it,
right.
that's also another thing. So it's Game Pass is one of those things where it's really a no-brainer. There's no deal like it. Like, don't get me wrong, it is like you said, like a streaming service. I don't want to do that because I don't want to be at the mercy of anybody else, like telling me what I can play.
And it keeps happening. Alan Wake, no disc.
Mm-hmm.
Star or the
Starfield's
Starfield.
no disc and no collector's edition.
Yeah, Starfield doesn't have a disc. Spider-Man doesn't have a disc.
Mm-mm.
Soul Calibur's being taken offline next week. So these things just keep, it's bad. We're definitely the next console. Oh man, I really am. I don't think it's gonna have a disc. I mean, we're already there. Like, you're already starting. Like, imagine in 2 years from now, it will maybe be more 50-50 of games not even coming out on disc. And that's like 2 years. Then think like 4 years. They're just preparing you for the next console, which won't have a disc, which sucks for more than anything, just backwards compatibility.
Yep.
Just how am I supposed to play my, you need the PS3 or any Xbox would obviously would do. But for PlayStation, PS3 is a system you need to own at that point. So yeah. I'm gonna get to the Marvel thing. I saw that. I think that's why I was able to get through Cyberpunk the first time because I was cackling the whole time. Yeah, I just couldn't do it. Well, it wasn't even the issues of Cyberpunk didn't even bother me too much. It was the
No.
game just didn't get me. Biggest games of the year are both 30 FPS, Starfield and Zelda. Look at that. Console wars might just actually be they're the most annoying for sure.
They are. They are.
And I don't know if you saw Sway all the Marvel
Yes.
delays and Disney stuff. Do you think? I mean, it's got to be because of the writer's strike, right? Like that's
Mm-hmm.
what I imagine.
They said initially, I was watching, I think it was like John Campea, but I also seen it somewhere else. Normally when these strikes happen, and they don't happen that often, But if it goes outside of 2 weeks, you'll start to see after that a lot of studios push a lot of things back, and it's been well over 2 weeks at this point.
Oh, yeah, it's been
So,
it was May 1st, so it's been a month and a half. Yeah.
mhm. So I think that I'm surprised we didn't see delays earlier, but
Yeah.
maybe they were just holding out hope that maybe they could rush production, do a little crunch, and try to get everything out of the deadlines.
Yeah.
But no, I expected that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not honestly, and a lot of the stuff I'm sure there's many other things internally that are being delayed kind of across the board, but some of the Marvel things, it's like it's okay. It's okay. You don't need to put it out right away. And Star Wars, oh dear God. I guess
Yeah.
Star Wars, let's just get it as soon as possible. Let's get this thing over with. But that's delayed too.
Off topic here, but I
Yes.
did see a rumor with like Star. I don't know how true it is, but it was big enough for Star Wars Theory to talk about it. That because of Disney's financial struggles,
Oh yeah.
they are seriously considering selling it back to George Lucas.
Yeah, I never believe those rumors just because I don't want to
I
be burned.
I don't. Yeah, I don't want to be burned either, and I don't know how.
He's also like 80.
Yes,
And I mean, I want him back too, but I mean, can he like you don't actually know. Some of these people, some of these celebrities, like you don't know their health, you don't know what they're capable of doing. And especially when you don't hear about them for a long time, you literally don't know how like I think he's been on like the set of Mandalorian, so he's probably
yep.
still okay. But could he direct can he make a movie over like a 3-year span of time? Is that okay for an 80-year-old?
I think what he could do is
Oversee everything?
oversee it and have Dave Filoni in charge, since that was always his right hand man anyway.
Yeah.
So I think that that would be a better case scenario, because then Dave Filoni, if something ever happened to George Lucas, I don't know who he would want to oversee the company, but I would imagine he would put Dave Filoni in a very, very, very powerful position in the company, and that would be the best case scenario. I don't believe that is going to happen, but if it does happen, I might cry. That is how
Oh, yeah.
important Star Wars is to me. I cannot. Disney needs to let it go.
Yeah. No,
They need to
I
let Marvel
agree.
go too.
Yeah. Kathleen Kennedy needs to go first, I think.
Yes,
More
oh
than
for
anything.
sure.
Without Game Pass, I wouldn't be gaming beyond mobile and Rocket League. I wouldn't be in the stream without Game Pass. 75% of the games I play were on Game Pass. Yeah, yeah. It opens people up. It allows if it's content creators, it allows them to try different games and talk about them and stream them and play them. As players or consumers, it just lets you kind of be a little bit more diverse, right? Like in your in what you play. So, yeah. I mean, there was a report that said by 2028. I saw that insider. I think that's correct. And guess what? 2020. You imagine 2027 or 2028 is the next consoles, right? It's 2020, so 7-8 years. So yeah, it lines up perfectly with the next generation, which definitely sucks, man. Like I have a PS3. I really hope it still runs okay. I might buy like a backup PS3. Because PS3, right? You got PS1, 2, 3 there. PS5 can play PS4. Then for Xbox, I guess you just get the Series X or an S, right? That can just play as much as you can possibly think. And then Steam has some older games too. Like that's what you're gonna have to do. You'll have to have 2-3 consoles, and those will have to be your games or your consoles for older games. That sucks. Especially
we still got Nintendo.
Still got it, but Nintendo is arguably the worst of them all, aren't they? They put the Super Mario things in a timed collection to see how it does and put it and then take it away.
But they'll always pump it out physically too, though. They're gonna resell that,
but it's always timed and it's limited. It's like a limited run.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but that's how they supply and demand. That's what they want to do.
I think there's demand for the. Like if you do a Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 and you put them together and you make it just always available, I think you will have people that I don't think you'll just get people for 2 weeks. I think people will always want it. The Avatar, the final Avatar movie is 2031, so that's 8 years from now. James Cameron is what, like 73? So like that's his magnum opus. That's it. Oh my god. I don't know. It's probably because I'm getting older, but when I see dates that are more than like even games, when I see games that are more than like 3-4 years out, it's like I don't know, I expect to be alive and around, but I don't know exactly how. So how can I really get excited for a game that's 5-6 years out? You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
Elder Scrolls 6 or Fallout 5 that's both being talked about by Todd Howard. Like you can only get so excited because 10 years from now, like who knows? It'll be a robot It will be a robot Todd Howard. It won't even be him.
It'll
You
be
know?
AI.
Yeah, it'll just be AI. Oh my god. And that's if the world even survives. I don't like Game Pass. I've tried it for several months before and it just didn't do it for me. I focus on a few bigger games that excites me. Game Pass for me was throwing away money each month. Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
Sure.
I see Game Pass as like the ultimate, and PlayStation Plus is also, I think, honestly, very necessary because it has just as many games. It's got the PS3 kind of era, like the flagship ones, on streaming, which is annoying. But if you're that's the thing, right? If you're into older games or if you're into waiting, then you do Game Pass. However, when Xbox really starts to get going, you'll have Hellblade day one. You'll have Starfield. But that's another one. I can maybe see why you do the collector's edition and stuff, but why in God's name, if you're going to buy the standard edition of Starfield day one, why would you do that? Yeah, $70, just do Game Pass. Even for a month, it's $15. So that's where the deal, I think is. It's for specific people. I think you'll be able to exchange your old disc for vouchers for the digital version, like in a future world.
Okay. I could get with that because I don't believe that they'll ever stop doing digital, but I believe that digital won't be if you like something like that, you're gonna have to go out of your way if you want physical. It's gonna have to be like some extra step, which is I think Nintendo can actually leverage. Just like how Microsoft's future plan is to kind of own the landscape of like the PC, I say like transformation of like where gaming is going. I think Nintendo is probably going to play more in the physical.
Yeah, which I think will work. It'll be like when Taylor Swift was still doing CDs because she knew she would sell like 1 million of them, which isn't great like 20 years ago, but it's amazing now. It's actually almost the same thing. Deadpool got pushed up while everything got pushed back. That's true. Deadpool did get moved up.
And Ryan Reynolds cannot improvise on set. He's not allowed.
But he can after. He can in the booth.
Mm-hmm.
So that George Lucas rumor was so fake. Star Wars is their biggest moneymaker. If Disney is in trouble, they would crank more Star Wars, not less. Well, like, see, I agree with that partially, but like when I saw that thing that Andor cost $250 million, if you think that it made them that in subscriptions, it did not. There's no way.
They lost.
I think they lost a tremendous amount of money on that.
I mean, and it's all in the financial. But I do believe that the George Lucas rumor is fake for the most part. I'm just hoping that it's real. But Disney's financial troubles, there's a lot of receipts you can look into that they are in hot water. They overspent for Fox. A lot of their streaming movies and shows have not, seen a return on investment that they wanted to see. So they're in hot water right now, and that's not totally out of the realm of possibility for me because companies have done that where they like a company has bought something and then sold it back for like a much lower price back to the creator. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. I just don't believe that it's happening, but if it does, that will be a day to cry.
And the thing is just I don't know if like I get the idea, like you would just make more of them, but I don't think more is better for Star Wars, right? You keep making more shows, you're just not making money off that. You're going to lose. You can make more movies, but like you will make money. Like, I mean, all 3 of the sequel trilogy movies made money. Rogue One made a lot of money, but like Solo lost money or just broke even, depending on what you want to say. Like if you like this Rey movie, I don't know if they need like 600 million to break even, maybe they make 700 million. Like, I just don't think they're going to be making as much. You have to think about like Marvel too, like Marvel's glory days versus now like Thor. So like this, you still may make 800 million, but you used to make $1 billion or 1.1 billion or 1.2. And then you make like 6 Star Wars movies. I don't think that's going to make you more money. You know what I mean? Especially with the leadership. It's just they're so terrible. So it's just going to get worse. And people are going to have enough of it eventually.
I think that they will. I believe if they actually pump out that Rey movie, that's going to be the first because it was her trilogy that turned off a lot of Star Wars fans and basically broke the fandom. So you pump out that Rey movie, I think that you're going to be looking at
Yeah,
record
I
lows for
think
Star Wars
six, seven
movies.
hundred million dollars is what it would make,
Mm-hmm.
which is good, but not as good for like a general movie. But it's not
Not
good
for
for
a
them.
Star
It's
Wars
not good for
movie.
Star Wars. Yeah,
No.
it's gonna be for whatever reason insanely. Well, you see the rumor about Fantastic Four that
Yep.
like because they chose A-listers, the cast itself was going to be $80 million. So that budget would probably be like 300 million just because they're getting. So that's kind of nuts. Yeah, God of War, Ragnarok didn't have a disc. Spider-Man, Alan Wake. Those are three I can. Spider-Man, God of War, Alan Wake, Starfield. Those are four. I'm sure there's probably more than those four, but those are four off the top of my head. I also struggle with ownership of my games. If a game interests me and excites me, I also really would rather own it, though I can see the appeal of Game Pass. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah, I don't like them taking away games from me. So,
Yep.
I mean, maybe I should probably buy more because I'm thinking about it like from the past. So like I've been buying, and for my birthday, my wife got me a lot. Like I made a list of older games I want. So like PS3, 360 era. I have a lot of PS4 games. I have a lot of PS3 games. I should probably get more PS4 and PS5 because like 10 years down the line, those will be, you know what I mean? But I'm
Yep.
not like thinking about it that way. I don't own a single PS5, I think, disc. Play a game in a I don't think I do. I don't know if it's impressive. Yeah, it's impressive in a bad way. But yeah, I should maybe, but that's so expensive. But yet again, if you think 10, 15 years down the line, a lot of these games I'm looking for, like I bought the first Assassin's Creed on PS3, not the greatest hits one, like the legit one, $10. So like if I can get like Final Fantasy VII remake, I think I bought that digitally. I wanted the case, but it's like $45. But if I
Yep.
wait 10 years, I'm sure it won't be 45. You know what I mean? So all the market. I'm getting into it though. I'm think I'm getting into it a little bit too much, to be honest with you.
I mean, I've always been, because more than anything, like I said before, like your account is so sensitive in the day and age, how easy it is for people to hack your account.
That's true, yeah.
That alone just scares the living daylights out of me, and that will always keep me on physical.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen it yet. Like, you could even go into a really dark place that I'll just generally bring up and we'll back away from it. You think about like social media companies with like hate speech and like, and
Mhm.
then your account gets banned and all this stuff. And look, I think there is legitimate like bad people out there that say legitimately bad things, but I think also a lot of it's political. And if you just don't say the right thing, you're gone. YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all this stuff, right? What happens when that invades gaming? It's taken the longest, but it actually kind of has like reporting in gaming. There's been some
Mhm.
games that do sketchy kind of stuff with that. What happens when they say, well, we're freezing your account? You're not allowed to play games. So you have a history, you have a library of 200 digital games, but you said something in a COD lobby, and then they said, well, you're suspended for 30 days. You can't play those games. Now, if you have a disc, you can't. I mean, maybe they could do an update. They can block the disc, but not if you play on your 360 or whatever, right? I think that day could come. I think it will come.
I think it could come. The only reason why I don't think that it will come is because in multiple other industries, the pendulum is starting to shift
That's true.
back.
Yeah.
So it's just like if it happens, then I believe that that's going to cut that off maybe right before we get there. But before we get there, because gaming companies, believe me, they like the situation with Activision and Call of Duty that they're going through now and stuff like that. Like, do we believe that they did this for some morally correct position after what they've been accused of?
Right,
so it's just like they believe me, these companies more than anybody wants to have that status quo back the other way. And I think that they're going to use a lot of different ways. I honestly believe in a lot of the aspects the writer's strike is going to be even used a lot of ways, because if this goes a certain amount of time, they can cancel projects that maybe they don't believe in. So there's a lot of things the industry can actually do to like start walking things back. And I believe that that's going to be one of them. People are just going to have a more are going to be allowed to have humor again and things of that nature. So I believe that it's just going to be a more walking back and even, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to kind of meet in the middle. And then, like, if you're really a hole, then you're going to really be dealt with. But other than that, I believe everybody is going to be safe. I think that it's going to work out. But maybe I'm just too optimistic. I think it's going to work out, though.
No, those are good points. I think by the time they even start to implement those things, things are already shifting back. So in 2-3 years, to do it would just be so stupid. It's already kind of falling apart. I don't even participate in like COD lobbies and stuff like that. I'm doing it for the average Joes on the streets. All right. I guess, I mean, if we want, we can try to get through the rest of these comments, and if there's any other games we want to talk about, Sway, we'll do that. However, may wait for some of these Xbox games to drop and use Game Pass for a month to try them. Yep, that's a good one. That's a good reason to do it. The games I play in Game Pass, I enjoy a ton, but would never buy. $70 isn't pocket cash on. Yep, yeah, 100%.
They good for free, but they're not good for $70. I love that.
Yeah. Saw a TikTok that was flooded with comments talking about how they didn't know what a DS was. Oh my god.
Oh.
We gave our DS, my wife, I think it was a 3DS. We gave it to our daughter, so she knows what. And they sell these Game Boy looking things like on the ends of Walmart, like where the cash register is on the other side. Those like small trinkets. There's a Game Boy looking thing for like $5-10, and I think it either is broken for her or it lasts like an hour after you charge it. But it's like a Game Boy. So I was like describing Game Boy and what I'd play on it and stuff. So I think it'll make it, like vinyl made a comeback.
Yeah.
I
think honestly, like I've kept all my handhelds. So I still have, I think I have a picture that I posted the day I got my Steam Deck, but I'd had all my handhelds like circled around the Steam Deck, and I still have my Color, my Advance, my my Zelda 3DS XL, my Vita, my PSP. I even have the PlayStation TV. It's just that's in a different room, but I wouldn't count that as a handheld. But even though it uses the Vita like interface, so handheld gaming, like hearing that there's a TikTok out there where they don't know what a DS is. I mean, Game Boy, I could see that. But a DS, I'm like, it's still, to me, maybe. I still like it's a little too recent for you not to know.
Yeah, DS. Game Boy lasted forever.
Yes, it did.
Like how many years that did. Yeah, I don't know about this one. I think AAA games will go all digital. I think indie devs won't. Indies kind of already don't. Indies have to do that. Is it literally called limited run? That's that website that they have to basically work with a third party to make discs for them. So I think they already have trouble because of production costs and stuff doing it. I think they want to do physical, but
that's a good point though. That's an excellent point. Limited run, because they did the Star Wars Collector's Edition. So AAA developers do use them, and that could be an easy way to skirt around it because EA didn't sell it themselves. They went through limited run to sell it. So if it does go all digital, then as long as they put the disc tray, because disc trays don't cost that much to put in there. So if they put the disc tray in the consoles and they leave it an option, but most of the games are physical, digital. And if you want a physical, you maybe got to go through like a limited run or another, third party. That is an easy way to scope. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. I think I was just told that, am I using the right mic? I think I am now. I don't know if this actually did it.
You definitely sound a little different, but I didn't notice until like you changed.
Now I'm using the right mic. I don't know why I changed it. Thanks for letting me know, Ned Skittit. Is that how you say your name? That's an odd name. Let's see. I have to have a physical library of my games. I still use game. Yeah. The Starfield Collectors looks freaking rad. Xbox is live. Yep, they have Obsidian on to talk about Avowed, and we'll go over Cyberpunk DLC. I'll watch it after this, and if there's anything kind of big, I'll do a video. I'm hoping Hi-Fi Rush gets the DLC announcement there because it wasn't at the show, so I hope that it's there. But what do you think about Avowed? Avowed to me looked really good.
I liked it. I liked what I've seen a lot. So much just coming out, man.
Yeah,
so much.
Next year's filling up. But what's not, okay, what's weird though, because I'm gonna do a video when I'm
pre-record it, have it go up when we're gone in that vacation era, and I want to talk about like all the games in the second half of the year and rank them like anticipated. And like thinking, I wanted to wait for these events, right? Because all these games are going to get announced. They're kind of all done. And to be fair, November is kind of empty after The Man Who Erased His Name. And then December has Avatar. To me, November and December has just those two games, one on each month. So every game under the sun comes out September, October, and then November and December actually are way more, specifically November, is way more dead than normal. And I'd like to say, well, maybe they'll announce a few more things. Well, they would have done it. This would have been the month to have done it. So, like, I think we're done. There's maybe a few games, like a Stellar Blade does that. But why didn't they show themselves at Sony or something? I think that game's delayed. I think the game's probably 2024. You know what I mean? So it's such a packed September, October, but that's kind of it. And then next year there'll be, quite a bit as well.
That's actually I didn't think about that, nor did I notice it.
Yeah,
but now that you mention it, like November and December there's nothing I can think of outside of the two games listed that really occupies those months.
Yeah,
I mean that probably does open the door though for maybe games we don't know about yet. But
like when do you like? I can like okay, like RoboCop, Rogue City. I think that's a fall game. We don't know a date, so that could be like a November thing. Metal Gear, the collection, the 1, 2, 3, that's fall, but no date. Sonic, that's fall. So those three, I mean, if those three came out all in November, let's say, then November, it would be more packed. So it is possible, but I do feel even if you put those three games there, I don't think November is normally, it's September, October, November, those 3 months. And December, we'll have like the Midnight Suns of the world, Just Cause, when those games released, they are December. Smash was December of that year. Normally December has quite a few, at least in like the first week and a half. Callisto Protocol was this last year.
I think Gamescom could be another big place where we do get maybe some of those November,
that's true,
December moves, because I don't think that South Park the game is coming out this year, but we could see something there easily.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about that. Like, still, there's a couple of straggler games.
Persona 5 Tactica comes out November 17th. So there's one. Like a Dragon, The Man Who Erased His Name, November 9th. The day before, November 10th. That game doesn't exist. That's not coming out. Hogwarts on Switch is the 14th. Persona 5 Tactica is the 17th. Avatar is December 7th. There's no other game. Like, I read December's list. Avatar. I really don't know. Like, there's a few, maybe 3, 4, 5 games that could happen, but it's looking, which is fine. It's fine because Starfield you'll still be playing in December.
Yep.
Spider-Man. Well, the thing with Starfield is I think it puts the other games in perspective. There's no game besides Zelda, I think, that can match. Not that more is always better, and I'm not saying that necessarily for Starfield, but Spider-Man doesn't look so big when you're talking about Starfield anymore.
No, not at all. But one thing I will say about Spider-Man is that, if I remember correctly, 3 months, like they went 3 months back to back with releasing them season pass DLCs. So that could expand it out if they have that same roadmap. Like right after October, you get into November DLC, December DLC, and then January. I mean, that last DLC. So.
I think I'd hope we'd get DLC before like Christmas if we could even just get one. I like buying physical, at least with Sony, because some first party games have reversible covers, which are really cool. Yeah, I love like just the covers of games. Look so cool to see it in front of you. Yeah. Limited run fired an employee because someone got mad. Yeah. I saw that. I saw that cancel culture stuff. That was a joke. I'm not saying Limited Run is a great company, but they do God's work, at least with this digital stuff.
Exactly. They're it's like a necessary evil, but you really wish they were an evil. But none of us liked what they did there. None of us. Me and Alex was talking about it. We don't like it, but they're doing God's work.
Thank you again, buddy, for telling me about the mic. I don't know why I switched it. Even on Discord, I think I have it locked where this mic will always be the one that it picks up. So I appreciate you telling me. Rewatch the Avatar trailer. Upon rewatch, I'm more excited about it. happy about the option to play co-op online. Yeah, the co-op thing I think will really help it for sure. I'm not. I'll have to rewatch it as well. They did tease Hi-Fi. Yes. Oh man. Oh no. I wanted to play some other games tonight. I guess maybe it'll have to be. What do they do? Like a drop, and it's just today. Today's a Tuesday. Oh dear God. I love that we finally see 2024 is coming into frame.
Yep.
And remember, like, well, the rumor GTA 6 is like next fall.
Yep.
So there's that. So that's a big one.
We didn't even see GTA 6, so
No,
Game
no.
Awards is probably.
I don't think we need to. I think we're like, honestly, I'm done. I'm not burnt out. Like I always love these times of the year and the live streams and covering and just seeing like game. Like here's 50. How many games between PlayStation to now? We probably got what, like 60 new games, maybe updates on like 20 or 30. So we probably saw close to like 100 unique games. I think that's probably somewhat accurate. Close to 100 games, let's say. That's nuts. But at the same time, I am done. Like I do want, give me Crash. Like I'm so excited for Crash Final Fantasy. Give me the new games. Take a break. Gamescom is at the end of August. Then you can, Jeff can do his thing. And after that, I miss the Capcom. They did not talk about an Ada Wong DLC. I can't believe they let that go.
Capcom was probably the most disappointing for me. Y'all know how much I love Capcom.
Yeah. Well, did you see the tweet that said Capcom great at games, Capcom horrible at showcases or whatever?
I did not.
Yeah, that was a thing that was said. They're pretty bad with showcases. So.
They are, and I'm like, because what I went in thinking was like, there is nothing else you could show here. The Street Fighter and Exoprimal thing, I was like, why, and there was certain things that looked like, okay, this is decent. This could be a good thing here. But to be honest, you needed Devil May Cry in order to legitimize you having one. Dragon's Dogma was the carrier for sure.
So good.
I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
But you needed something else. You didn't give it to us. I was let down.
Even Pragmata looked good, but it's delayed, and they didn't even say 2024. No. It was 2022, and it was scribbled. Then it was 2023, and it was an X, and then it was nothing. It was an arrow to nothing or a question mark or whatever it was.
And then they had the little apology after. Yeah.
Which so I want to go. I think I'm going to make a video just on Pragmata on the channel today, but I just want to run this through you guys here. The game looks, I think the game looks legit good. There's clearly a father-daughter kind of bond, but she's like a robot. So it's like I almost think about it like a sci-fi Last of Us. That's how I'm looking at it. So I think it's going to be pretty cool. But I do have a question. So with these delays, how did they think it was coming out in 2022? So not even considering this year, how did you think it was going to come out last year when realistically this, I don't know if this is a joke comment or not, but I'm going to take offense to it because 2026 is insulting. How do you, but what if it does come out in 2026? How in God's name did you pitch that game? And Sony, you showed it. Sony showed it and said 2022. How does it get delayed at least 2 years? If not, let's say most likely, I don't think it's coming out next year. I think it's coming out 2025.
I think the only thing that makes sense to me in my mind is that maybe they were hitting a really good stride in developing the game to the point where they thought it was going to make 2022 and probably seen some large overhauls that they want to do. Maybe they got some feedback internally and said this ain't gonna fly gameplay wise, so you're gonna need to overhaul maybe the mechanics of certain aspects of the game completely. That's the only thing that I can think of, because it makes no sense how you can announce 2022 and you ain't even coming out in 2023. We're probably not coming out in 2024. Yeah. So I mean, that's the only thing I can think of, because I'm looking at Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad, everything like that. I'm looking at those games and I'm like, okay, they had pushbacks and we can see the bones of what was the game that they had planned and what they tried to pivot to. And even with the time that they had allotted, it wasn't enough to completely remove all of that and turn the ship around. So maybe they're just we just got to do it.
I mean, because they do want it to be a flagship franchise.
Yep.
I'm sure they see their own success and they say, man, we are we can't let this game be Yeah, again, Exoprimal. Exoprimal is going to be the game that stops their little run that they're on here,
But
which is
nobody's perfect. Nobody's
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. You
So
can't expect a 10 out of 10 game every time, but
and I
Dion,
appreciate Exo Primal because that shows that they gave some sort of creative vision to somebody.
yeah.
So,
But this comment, that's what they need. So and
yeah.
I don't know if we're ever gonna get it. Yeah, I don't. What worries me about Resident Evil, the Separate Ways DLC, is almost like what happened with Village, where they didn't even consider it until the game came out and did so well, and they said, "Okay, we're going to start the DLC right now." It's like, but didn't you think that maybe it would be successful so you could do the DLC earlier? I feel like it's kind of the same ways with Separate, even though, but I think there were files in the game or there was some leak that indicated that they were going to do it. So, but I don't know when they started it. I have a funny feeling they started the Ada DLC in the last couple months, and we're going to get it next year, like around the same time we got RE4.
I think Capcom is just weird with
Yeah.
like outside of their fighting games.
You can just stop there. They're just weird.
They are, and I think that when it looks because they got back to prominence by the remakes, right?
Yeah.
The remakes is really what kickstarted this streak, and then they pumped out like a Devil May Cry, which had DLC, but much later. But that was once again like after they figured out, okay, this thing succeeded. So it's like they probably are just in this thing where they're like, we don't want to take a chance on anything just in case it flops. But there's no way they don't see their success. I just think that they're not gonna. I don't think that they're willing to pivot off of it because they don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Money's tight, and maybe they just they don't want to take any unnecessary risks. I really want Pragmata, so all the delays are sad. Them showing at a Capcom event like that was such a tease. Yeah. As soon as I saw it, I watched it live right before I was like making dinner. And I was like, and as soon as I was like, oh my God, here we go. And then I actually like when she was scribbling on the paper, I was kind of thinking, what if it's dates or something? And then when the paper falls, I was like, oh my God. So I kind of had assumed that's what they were going for. I even texted my wife all hyped about it, then got really disappointed. Yeah, there you go. If KOTOR ends up being Embracer's big 2024 game, that's another one. Yep. Then we'll see.
Embracer is actually scaring me right now because they are reshuffling their entire company, so they're closing down studios. I think THQ Nordic is safe because of their successful recent track record, but that's the one more than anything I think out of that bunch that I'm scared for.
Yeah,
because I see a lot of potential. They've been doing good things that I think flies over the radar a little bit too often. Yeah. But Destroy All Humans, the SpongeBob. Yeah, like it's the AEW game that's coming out. Like I can't stress to you enough that this studio is low key doing good things consistently, and I hope that they're
the thing. I'm severely worried. Like, there's a couple of questions I'd have. Number one, I'm really mad about that $2 billion thing because, like when I first saw it, you can think whatever you want about it, but then you start to analyze it and you say, were they projecting their sales off of a handshake agreement? Is that what they were doing? Mm-hmm. Because that's a horrible, you know what I mean? Like the guy seems, and it was like their CEO or whatever, he seems so defeated that they lost it. And it was pitched as if it was so gonna happen, and then like last second it was pulled, right? But if they were telling their investors and their whole stock was built up on this handshake deal that they were gonna get this $2 billion thing, and then when that failed, they were like, well, we have no other plan. That person should be fired. He should be fired. Mm-hmm. You just don't do. But it's not Lord of the Rings, right? That $2 billion thing. I don't think it's the Lord of the Rings agreement because they're still talking about that Lord of the Rings is like they're going all in on those games. And they talk about the canceled games that they're going to cancel are going to be games that aren't announced.
Yep.
The thing with Embracer is 17,000 people. They make hundreds of games. And while we talk about the Destroy All Humans and SpongeBob's, there are dozens more. If they got rid of those, I guess I wouldn't even notice. To not be too mean. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I don't want those people to get fired, but they have so many people and so many teams. I'm going to be really upset, if I hear that the Destroy All Humans team is gone because they have 20 teams I've probably never heard about with games I've never heard of. Fire them. Get rid of them. Don't get rid of Destroy All Humans.
And that's what I said. Like like it's certain teams there
Yeah.
that I think should be safe. I think that there is nothing that's gonna. I think THQ is safe.
Yeah.
They've been.
I honestly think Knights of the Republic is still safe too, because that
I
game
think
could
that's
just make
yeah.
so much money. That
It,
you just need to
even if
release
it's horrible,
it.
even
Yeah.
if it's a horrible port, people will buy it and wait for you to patch it. Now that's not a good practice. We don't want you to do that.
Yeah.
But that's
But
how
if you
much
have
people
to.
want the game. Yeah, that's exactly how much people want the game. They're willing to take the product as you give it to them and then
Yeah.
patch it over time. They don't care. So
yeah, I think just the amount of money that game will make them when it's ready.
Yep.
That's just something that you have to suck up. It's I think the rumor, the guy who went through like the whole story of it, it's expensive. Like they put in 50 million of their own. They took 50 million from somewhere else. Like, the game's going to be probably like a $150 million. Like that's a lot, especially for Embracer. That's a lot of money. But you just got to suck it up, because that game, if it sells 5 million units, you just made your money back, right? Like you just need to release it. Please. The problem with Summer Game Fest was that the attending companies had so much to show and showed so little. The sentiment around E3 was that every company had to show up. When will EA and WB show their games? Yeah.
I think it goes back to what I said last week. I honestly think that the companies don't respect Summer Games Fest the same way that they respected E3. And it's not that to say that they won't eventually, but it's not enough of a proven commodity to where it's like this is the place to be. Like you remember the last couple of years of E3, like for the concerts that Jeff is throwing, they're decent. But if you compare them to like the E3 ones, oh my God, those blow them out the water. So it's just like E3 felt like it was to this day, even though it doesn't exist at this moment, it's the one thing that I wanted to check off my bucket list and still do that I never got to do. And E3 always had that feeling of like legitimacy. Like this is where the gaming community comes from. It felt bigger than the Game Awards to me.
Yeah.
So it was that thing that just drove you there. Like Summer Games Fest for me doesn't feel like that way. So if I'm feeling that way, imagine how the companies feel. It's like this isn't anything we have to go all out for it. I mean, and look at the result. Would you say that Summer Games Fest was better than Xbox's showcase?
No.
You would never say that about E3.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that came up too is from the people there, which is sad because I want I think Jeff, and we've talked about it, he's the warrior. He's one that I would want to represent us in like the corporate world. Like he is that guy. I want him to succeed. So there were people that went there that talked about the attendance at this last one a couple days ago was like 80-90% just press and media and influencers and stuff. There's maybe 10% people that just walked in, and I believe they were selling tickets to go for $10. It was only $10, and yet extremely few people, and they didn't even sell out that theater that he had. It wasn't sold out. So I do feel bad. And that's the thing. That's the difference between E3. If you do an E3, you're going to fill that theater with the Sony event or whatever. I think Jeff is getting there. Like, I think the playing days, like when they played the games and then they hooked up the Final Fantasy event, right? That was like down the streets. The Xbox event was down the street. Like everybody just kind of like walked to the next thing the next day. That was genius. And that's starting to form an E3. I think so he really needs, but in order to do that, you need a big game like Final Fantasy to come out every June, like the week your Summer Game Fest is. So you need that. You need at least one of the big, like an Xbox to do their show down the road. Like, you know what I mean? You need to start like building it all around Summer Game Fest, and that'll take time.
It's going to take time. And I think that he's doing it the smart way, because what a lot of people don't know is that E3 in most cases took a big loss every year that they ran. So if he wants to slowly build things up where it could be financially stable, so that way when he goes out and has all the bells and whistles, it's not breaking the bank, then that is a smart idea. He's playing the long game. So like I don't expect it to be there, but it's not there yet. And that's why you're seeing the result that you're seeing. But like Alex said, he's getting there.
I do. To be honest, I want to go. Like next year. I don't know. I have to talk to my wife. Like those playing days, like they seem fun, and I don't know what I don't know what they would do next year with those, other events. And I don't know if, like, I think Final Fantasy, you had to be invited, but I don't know that for sure. And I don't think I'd ever get invited, but I could go to Summer Game Fest, like, at least. So I don't know. I have to think. I do want to go. If nothing, like, I want a picture with him. Random people posted on Twitter, like, hey, I got a picture of Jeff Keighley. It's like, I want to do that. I want to tell him hi. I'll think about it. I really do. I want to try to. That is on my bucket. With E3 gone, what are you going to do? I'm not going to Germany for Gamescom. That's not happening. So it'll be this or PlayStation Experience. All right. Well, we ran the hour. We actually did an incredible job there. Is there anything? I want to say this, and then Sway, I'll have you do your closing. Next week, we're back to the Thursday. So if you guys are, and the attendance has been so good for like the last 6 weeks or whatever straight. Like, you guys are rocking and we love having you guys here. So next week, Thursday, we're back to that. And then after that, we're gone for like 3 weeks and we have pre-recorded episodes that'll go up, and then we'll come back at middle to end of July and we'll just go straight from there. So that's the plan. So we'll be doing this on Final Fantasy Day next week, which we'll figure it out. So, okay, that's the promotion part. You have anything you want to say?
Thank you guys for your support. As always, we love the questions. The attendance has been, like as Alex said, has been quite breathtaking to see it growing. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to see it, you guys are enjoying it, to see you guys are all interacting with us and asking really great questions and just making the conversations even more interesting. And it's just so much. I can't explain it. Like, I love this community. I love everything that we're doing. I love working with Alex. I love having the opportunity to be here. So I can't stress enough. I know I say it every week, but I appreciate you guys. And I say it every week because I genuinely do. That's the best way I can, share or express that, is just by letting you guys know every week. So thank you for tuning in a lot. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, always a blast. Always so much fun talking to Sway and with you guys. So we'll see you all next Thursday around the normal time, around what we just did today. And, there won't be any events to worry about, but there will be games to worry about. So that'll be fun. But no, we appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you all on the next one.